She said, "What?" And we both ran towards the door. Hey guys, it's Charlie, and today I'm going to be doing a travel Q&A. This is my first travel Q&A, so I'm really excited to see what questions you had for me. I reached out on Facebook and asked you to ask me some questions about travel. Daniel Donnie Flores, how do you know which essentials to pack? Well, this is always different for each person because it all depends on your personality. What kinds of things do you like? What types of things are you planning to do on your trip? And what types of things do you usually use on a daily basis? There are many types of things that go into planning your travel essentials. First, I usually start out with my toiletries. Toiletries, things like toothbrush, toothpaste, all of those things, you always need them. You can't go without those. The next types of things is think about what you're going to be doing on your trip. So if you're going to be hiking, you obviously need comfortable shoes. I think you need that anyway, no matter where you're going. You always need comfortable shoes when you're traveling. What is the weather like in the country you're going to? So this is going to determine whether you're packing a really big, heavy jacket for the winter or swimsuit for swimming in the pool or in the ocean. So it's really all about what type of travel are you doing? Are you doing luxury travel? Are you going to be staying in fancy hotels, or are you going to be living in hostels and couch surfing? This typically takes trial and error. If you haven't gone on your first trip yet, you're bound to realize, oh shoot, I forgot to bring this. And then on your next trip, you're going to remember it, hopefully. The next question comes from Leticia, and she asks, what are the best times of the year to travel around South Korea? Okay, this is purely my opinion, but I think this is a similar opinion that I've come across for most people. For me, the best time to travel is spring and fall. I think spring is the perfect time to travel around Korea because you get the cherry blossoms in the spring, and it's just very cool, starting to warm up, and it's not too cold and it's not too hot like in the summer. And then fall is perfect because you get to see all of the different colors of the leaves. It's getting cool, it's not hot. If you notice, I don't like hot weather. Pretty much avoid the heat. Sean asks, where are you planning on going next? My next place is the US. I know that's to many people not travel, but I actually really don't like living in the US, and I plan to stay there for a few months to visit my mom, and I would like to take her on a few trips, at least 2. So I plan to take her to Indiana, which neither of us have ever been to. And I actually would like to go to Hawaii with her. Another place that I'm planning to go is coming back to Asia, but I actually plan on visiting Thailand. Annie and I plan on traveling around Thailand for a little bit, but that won't come until sometime next year. Oh, and Vietnam. And I'm applying to a completely new country in Asia, which is Japan. I'm applying to Japan, but don't get your hopes up because I don't know if I'm gonna go through with the process completely. Yeah, I'm applying to Japan. Yeah, cross your fingers. He also asks, what was your favorite city in Europe? I really enjoyed. Food is a big reason that I travel. I had a lot of plant-based options to choose from. What is the most interesting hiccup you've had in your travels? I think it was mainly in Europe, in Spain, when I realized that there wasn't really much for me to eat there. I'm a big foodie, and I was really disappointed having grown up thinking that Spain was something in my mind, and then going there and kind of being disappointed. I think I had this picture of more of a Mexico type feel, and it's completely different, and that's purely my fault. And that's kind of a lesson that I learned during my travels, is to not have too many expectations, because you can be surprised or you can be disappointed, and it's really mostly about how much of an expectation you have. When will we see your girlfriend and you traveling again? Probably sometime next year. Do you see yourself always traveling? This is a good question, and I get it a lot, and it's kind of hard to say yes or no. In general, I would have to say no. Like, I can't imagine staying in one place forever, but I know that eventually if I want to have kids in the future or just build something stable, I think that it's important to stay in one place for a while. But I can't see that happening. Like, I can't, the thought of that hurts my brain. But I feel like I am kind of starting to wind down. I still feel like I have some travels that I need to get out of my system first, and I will always want to go on little trips here and there. But I think that I can already start feeling myself preparing to be in one place. Brittany also asked, this is not travel related, but I have to ask, will you ever do a draw my life video? I'm not good at drawing. It will be pretty much a bunch of stick figures and horrible little scribble thingies. Maybe if I can find someone who is good at drawing, I can kind of collaborate with them and do the voiceover for it. But until then, no. Sorry. Isadora asked, do you always learn the language of every country you live in? It's amazing. I definitely do try to learn as much of the language as possible, especially if I'm going to be there for at least 3 months or more. I think it's kind of an insult to visit a country, especially if you're going to travel there or live there for like a year and you can't even speak basic conversational, I can't even think in English. Or even just asking for what you need. If you can't ask for that in the language of the country you're going to be living in for at least 3 months, that's my personal opinion. I think it's a really big insult to the country and the culture to not at least try to learn the basics, because you can't expect people to speak English, even though English is widely spoken or understood around the world. I think especially as an American, people are very kind of like, oh, you should speak English, but I think that we should definitely start learning to speak other languages. I should be able to ask basic things that I need at least. So that's my opinion. Yes, I do try to learn the language as much as possible, which is why I can't wait to go to a new country and live there, because I can't wait to start learning a new language. Hugo asked, what's the strangest thing that has happened to you on your travels? Okay, this is going to be kind of a negative thing, but I haven't addressed it in a video yet, so I think this is a perfect time. I was traveling around Mexico, and it was towards the end of my stay in Mexico, and this was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my travels, and I have yet to address it. I know I mentioned before that I got touched on the subway, but there's something else that I never told you guys about. And it's pretty much a story of when I was with Carrie, expat Carrie. She used to live in Korea. We were in a keychain shop in Mexico City looking at keychains, and this man walked in, and for some reason I didn't look directly at him. I just felt his presence, and I'm really good with feeling people's energy, and I'm very good with my intuition. So something in me told me to move to the other side of the keychain rack. I moved over and I looked to the side a little bit with my eyes. I didn't move my head, but I was pretending to look at the keychains, and I just moved my eyes, and I saw that he was carrying a bag, like kind of like a duffel bag, but it seemed like it was specially made for filming undergirl skirts. So I turned my whole body at him. I grabbed him, and he turned his body and ran out of the building. And I looked at Carrie. She had no idea what was going on. She was still looking at keychains. I felt like all time stopped, and no one knew what happened in that shop except me and the man. I looked at her and I was trying to catch my breath. It all happened so fast. I was like, Carrie, this man was trying to film up our skirts. She said, what? And we both ran towards the door and looked out, and we could see him running down the street. That was the most traumatizing thing that I have ever experienced in another country. Only because ever since then I still feel anxious on subways. I still feel kind of not safe around men in the subway, especially when I see a man carrying a bag. It's a very sensitive topic for me that I'm still trying to heal from. I just still remember the image of him holding a bag with this very huge lens poking out of a side pocket that seemed perfectly angled up my skirt. I always wear shorts, and that's one reason why I continue to wear shorts under my skirts. But yeah, that was a very traumatizing experience, and probably not one that I'm happy to share, but at least one that I'm happy to share with you guys so that you can continue to remain aware of your surroundings, whether you're traveling or not. I have another experience too, and it's the same topic. I was in Mexico on the subway, and I was sitting, I had on a dress, and this man was sitting right in front of me, and he was angling his phone kind of in a way that was kind of strange. And I looked at him, and he was very scary looking. Like, if I was going to judge someone on how safe they are just by their looks, I would be afraid. But in that moment, I was very unafraid. I was fearless, and I told him in Spanish that he was filming up my skirt. First, I looked at my friend, and she didn't know what was going on. And that just goes back to me being very aware of my surroundings. And he denied it, and I grabbed his phone because he was trying to say, look, you can see my phone, but he didn't want to show me, obviously, his actual phone. So I grabbed his phone from him. I was speaking Spanish to him, and I was telling my friend, like, he was trying to film or take a picture inside my skirt. She took his phone while I was talking to him, and he was making up all of these excuses. Oh, I'm going to see my wife, I love my wife, and blah blah blah. And I was talking to him in Spanish, like, oh yeah, you love your wife? Well, why are you filming or trying to take a picture up my skirt? And she found the picture, and it ended up being very non-visible. You couldn't see anything. Pretty much the whole subway, the train was all silent. He was in a women's section. In Mexico, the front of the train for many busy times is all women's only. All women only. So he was in an all women section getting blamed for doing something really bad, especially if you're a man in an all women's train. He ended up asking my friend if she spoke Spanish, and she did speak Spanish, but she was so scared. I don't blame her. He was very scary looking, and she said no. But I was like, I speak Spanish, I'm talking to you in Spanish. He just pretty much was trying to get out of it by trying to speak with her instead of me, but I wouldn't take it, and pretty much I just threw the phone at him and walked out. I'm just really glad that I spoke up about it, because if I hadn't, I would have felt bad, because prior to that, I had gotten touched on the subway, and after that, I told myself I would always speak up. Raynell, and she said, would you ever see yourself doing something other than teaching abroad? Although I know your degree is in TESOL, I think, and if so, what other types of careers or jobs would you like to do while abroad? My degree is definitely in teaching. I got a bachelor's degree in English Language Learner Studies, but something that I would love to do while abroad is what I'm doing here on YouTube. I would love to be hired to make videos, like travel videos, adventure videos, exploring very remote places of the world, eating different foods, and just exploring and showing the world different countries, languages, and people. Whether it's on my channel or for someone else, maybe a company that needs some videos to promote their travel company, or a country that wants to hire me to promote their country as a travel destination. That is my ultimate dream job. So thank you guys so much for watching. This video is long enough. I hope that you stay tuned with me. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and also check out my website charlycheer.com for some really cute tote bags, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. We have been so impressed with Greece. Greece, thank you.
California.